Hey, and we're here at the Winter School, at an event hosted by your Pawtucket City School Committee, Mayor Don Grebien, and the folks from Colliers, who are sort of the project managers on the job, not the construction management, but the project managers on the job. So we had just a couple quick questions to the mayor, and he's always kind enough to give us his time. First off, the question will persist. Are you running for Congress?
So honestly, my family and I are talking about it. We're talking with residents. Mm-hmm. So I got plenty of time to make the decision.
Right.
But I want to make a decision that's impactful, and I think that we've been able to do a lot here in the community.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to make a decision that's best for the residents, best for us. So in time. I'm not ruling it out, but we're not there yet.
All right, because I'm rooting for you because I know that you'll take me to D.C. to be one of your communications people.
Okay, deal.
We're videotaping this. With regard to the school system, there's obviously a lot of moving parts right now. The unified school system looms large, and we've addressed some of those questions about similarity in construction management, if you will, with the school committee. That's sort of their bailiwick. But of importance, too, is what's going on at Shea High School. My understanding is that you've signed off on the stage one, if you will, the $10 million commitment to do repairs to Shea.
Yep.
What does that mean to you in terms of the city? And from your understanding, what does that encapsulate?
So first, we're all trying to figure out as we're handling this, and this took precedent because it's the new school when it shouldn't have. We're all still trying to figure out why there was no investment the last few years, knowing that we were waiting on a unified high school. Mm-hmm. And there was a proposal put in for originally the $20 million with no backup. So the acting superintendent, the new school committee chair, they really focused in on what they could do in this construction season and how much they needed. So an overview, high level, it's electrical, it's fire alarm, it's roofing, some of the big expenses that they honestly could get done hopefully in this season, so that way when September, when they come, when I say season, the spring and summer season. So they're focusing on that. We've all agreed, and I think the school committee has taken a position that they're going to keep this building in that portfolio long term. So that was one of the things that we all had to figure out where we were getting the money from, and it impacts that. So at this point here, reinvesting into the school, into Shea, because let's be honest, the kids are going to be there for another 5 to 7 years on how fast the construction happens on the unified high school. So,
do you see that as a potential middle school going forward?
I don't know what it's going to be. There's been talk of middle school. There's been talk of the special needs. There's a lot of talk, but I think it really comes down to where we are as a community, get community input once we're out of the school for high school.
Now, there was a second ask at the same time. I believe it was about $11 or $12 million. Where does that stand? And is there a reason for the delay? Is it still the subject of analysis? What are your thoughts on that?
So if you're talking about the second piece, it was $20 million, roughly first ask, $10 million half. You're talking that part of it?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So that was with no backup, no information as to what was needed. So
I'm talking about the request that went in a few weeks ago. There were two requests. There was one that was a $10 million ask, and then there was a second, I believe it was $11 or $12 million ask.
So there's only been one ask right now. Originally on Shea, there was the original $20 million ask with no supporting information.
Going back to 19, right?
Yeah, going back to the end of last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then they broke it down and they took a look at what work they could actually get done in this season, came in with the backup and supporting information, and they asked the council and myself if we would support the $10 million, to get that work done. So we've committed on that. There's been no second ask, but there is work that has to happen. And so we're trying to balance out when we borrow, where we borrow from, what revenue sources and what capacity we use. So all of that will flush out. So it's a phase one. Could be a phase two, could be a phase three, depending on what work they can get done after this.
Right. And you feel that this will be the solution for the NEASC, if you will, the ratings crisis?
Everything we've told, they've been talking with Rhode, there's been conversation with Rhode, conversation with NEASC, and that'll settle it. But at the end of the day, right, we need to get that building as soon as we can up to standard, right? It's been neglected for years. We were dealing with last year alone with teachers not having heat or the children not having heat. It's not acceptable, so we're flushing through that. I think, unfortunately, some of the perspective was we were going to a unified high school, so let's wait, but nobody was really thinking about, hey, it's going to take us 5 to 7 years. So we need to invest in that and do the right things.
Trying to, like that old car that you're kind of trying to keep on the road.
Right. I'm going to put the Band-Aid on it and
put the down payment on the new one. I think everybody gets that. Last quick update. We appreciate the time. We're here with Mayor Donald Grebien. We're here at the Henry J. Winters Elementary School. Good news, folks. Back in business tomorrow. Again, I keep saying this. It's the only school opening I ever went to in September where kids were literally running into the school, not being dragged, not running away from the school. It's an amazing, amazing place. You know, the stadium construction is ongoing. Where does that stand right now in terms of the overall project? Can you just give us a general sense of that?
So right now the developers, they've poured the concrete. Everything's on target. They're bringing in fact, we just met their new CRO. So they're going forward. As you know, they've opened up their offices in downtown Pawtucket. So everything is on track with that as well. So
is there a Yankees jersey or anything buried in the concrete?
not that we know of.
I'm
yet,
not buried in the concrete, no. You smile a little bit too much on that. All right. Well, Mayor Grebien, again, we appreciate these constant conversation, flow of information.
It's support for all this, Pat. Thank you.
Fair enough. Thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you. All right, I'll go for a quick walk. All right.